Hello, everybody. Sharing with you a little project that I have on this '88 Chevy pickup. I already did the front brake stuff here. Had quite a bit of trouble with this truck being able to get it to stop. So the front has already been done, everything from the calipers to the bearings to the rotors, a whole bit. And now we're moving on to the back stuff. I just want to say, even with the front being done already, haven't had a really good stopping brake pedal feel, and so went ahead and put together this nice kit. New calipers, hoses, had some brackets made, got all the grade 5 hardware, and new set of rotors for the rear. So we're not going to just simply replace drums and go with drum stuff, so we're just going to do a conversion. So I went ahead and just got a lot of material so we can get this done hopefully in just a day. Turns out we started around noon and ended up finishing right around 8 o'clock, so about 8 hours worth of work. We'll need to get into the differential so that we can remove the pin and go ahead and move the axles out. But started off by just some disassembly, taking off the drums at first. As you can see, just going to be taking this stuff apart, and none of this is really going to be saved, simply because I'm not a huge fan of the drum stuff, and having done this before on another pickup similar to this one, I'm really comfortable with the way that the disc brake conversion comes out. So definitely out with this old stuff and in with the new. So all these springs, just once you get it all pulled apart, it all just comes apart pretty nicely there. And the only thing that's going to really be saved here is the emergency brake cable. Up until the end of this video, I still haven't finished hooking up that cable to the calipers, the new ones that are going in, but that's going to be maybe an hour or two worth of work on next weekend. So I was not able to get it all finished up today, but easy work, and I was able to get this braking system actually performing quite well. I'm really happy with the way it came out. So what I'm doing here is just taking off the bolts that hold that backing plate in place. And as you can see, moving on to the other side, went ahead and got further ahead on that. Got everything loosened up. But again, you do need to open up your differential cover and remove the pin. There's a bolt and a pin that get taken out, and then once that pin is removed, you can slide your axles in and you can hear the C-clips removed, in which case you're able to move this thing out. I was surprised with the amount of oil that was in that drum location. Even I had just replaced all the components in there, with the exception of the axle shaft seal. So once I'm actually opening this up, I'm able to see a little bit further into it, and I hadn't got this pickup to this point. But then once I was able to get this parking brake released, I was able to just kind of do a little bit more inspecting. So once I set that aside, I was able to really see where that problem was for the oil leakage there. So right on the face of this oil seal, you can tell that there's a little bit of damage, and so it just wasn't causing great seal, and just oil was just getting everywhere. I initially thought it was the brake cylinder in that location, but upon further inspection, I was able to see that this thing was just not sealing appropriately. So once those wheel cylinders came out, I didn't want this the brake fluid to empty out completely, because I had just last weekend replaced these cylinders and got a really good flush out of the system. So I figured, why not just take these cylinders and just pop them back in and just create a plug so that the fluid just doesn't continue to drip. So that's what I'm doing here, is just putting the brake line back on the cylinder and just putting it aside so that it'll stop dripping. Once that's nice and tight, you can just push that aside and do all the work that you need to, and disassemble it further when you need to. So once I knew that I needed to replace the axle seals, I went ahead and got my son to start doing a little bit of cleanup work around the axle shafts and the mating surfaces where these new brackets are going to go in place. You do definitely want to have a flush surface when you have brackets going onto this location, so that everything can remain within alignment and run true. A little bit of dirt or grease buildup is going to cause things to be out of alignment. So after I got back from the store and checked out the new seals, got myself some sealant and gear oil for a fresh fill. And I already had this seal puller, and you literally just have to fit it inside that seal, being careful not to strike the bearing, and just keep tapping it and it'll come out. Going back in, the only thing that was flat enough to push this seal in was this piece of board there that I cut a piece off there, and so I was able to remove the old seal and just do a little wipe down on the interior side there, so that there just wasn't any more leaks. I'm tired of seeing all the oil just everywhere, so just the cleaner it is, the better the outcome. Went ahead and squared up the new seal, and I already knew that this board piece was gonna crack, so I was just trying to be as gentle as possible, but it ended up splitting anyways. But anything that you have, obviously if you have a better piece of 2x4 that's not already split, that'll do the job just fine. Obviously there's better tools for this job, but this did the work just fine. I had a good result with the way I was doing it here. Putting together just the bolt kit there and just hanging that bracket right on the axle housing. I did get all grade 5 hardware, zinc plated, so this is enough to do the work. And I like to have washers on the bolt side and on the other side, on the nut side, just so that it doesn't mar the surfaces on either one, and it just looks a lot cleaner when if you're going to disassemble it for whatever reason, it's just your material doesn't get marred up. Now, before the axles go in, I just took a little bit of open mesh sandcloth. I use this in refrigeration and plumbing. You can find this at your local hardware store, and you can't sand this enough where it's going to cause any problem. This is a very light sanding right on the surface, so that when it does be reinstalled here, it's not going to have any buildup that's going to cause that seal to potentially fail, the new seal there. So, and again, just making sure that you just clean the surfaces before you reassemble. A little bit of a trick to get this axle to line up inside the gear set there, but not too bad. I was able to get that put in place. And once my brackets, my axles were back in their location, I went ahead and just took a wire brush and cleaned around the axle flanges there, so that when the new rotor gets installed, everything is just running true. As you can see there's quite a bit coming off, so I just didn't want that to be in the way, so that once the rotor goes in, you can spin it and just check for any run out. I didn't put a dial indicator on this, but it was running true enough where I'm comfortable with that. Now, on assembly of your calipers, there is a little bit of a notch on that pad that rests up against the caliper there. And the way that these were sent out, the way they were assembled, they weren't exactly fitting appropriately, so I went ahead and adjusted those notches so that the pads could fit there, and then just made sure I tightened everything up and checked for any leaks. Initially I had some tabs that I was gonna put for a little bit better attachment on that hard line to the flex line, but they ended up not fitting well, and I was comfortable with just routing everything right underneath the axle. And this is a much better fit than what I did on my previous pickup. But at any rate, everything looked pretty decent at the end. Went ahead and adjusted my calipers and got everything bled. I had, there's two of us doing this, so I was able to get that all nice and done there, and did a test drive. And the amount of braking power now is it's amazing. It's just night and day difference. So haven't put too many miles on it, but it's definitely working well. And having done the front, I mean, this is just a complete different truck. So if anybody's interested in the kit, just reach out to me and let me know, and maybe I can put together a kit for you, and maybe you can do your truck too. 88 to 98 Chevy pickups, 2-wheel drive with a 8.5-inch corporate GM axle in the back.